Okay, this meeting of the Littleton Liquor Licensing Authority come to order. Could you call the roll, please, Michelle? I'm here.
Present.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
We have a full membership here tonight, so the alternates will get to ask questions, but will not be able to vote. Next item on the agenda is election of officers. We need to nominate someone for chairman.
I nominate Tony for chair.
I second the motion.
All in favor, any other nominations?
Anthony Gallagher,
Yes.
Yes, that would be Anthony Gallagher.
just checking for the record.
Are there any other nominations? All in favor? I think we need to poll the authority on that one.
Close the nominations.
I'll make a motion to close the nominations.
Second.
Would you poll the authority on the election of Anthony Gallagher? I agree.
I guess.
Yes.
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 All right. I need a nomination for vice chairperson, and I would like to nominate William Bradish.
Second.
And are there any further nominations? I move the nominations be closed.
Second.
Would you poll the authority, please, on the election of William Bradish to vice chairperson? Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Moving along. Thank you, everybody. Minutes of the last meeting, April 8th, 2009. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Make a motion they be accepted as drafted.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition. I need a motion to approve the agenda for this evening.
I'd ask that we amend the agenda to move the show cause hearing, since we're going to have an admission, up to the next order of business before we take on the Broadway Wine and Liquor probable cause determination. So switch out 8 for 10.
Any objection to that? Yeah, I make a motion that we hear the issue in Bubby's Cafe as our next order of business. And a second.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No opposition. Okay, that being said, item 10A, Bubby's Cafe, LLC, doing business as Gorilla Room, 5654 South Prince Street, Littleton, Colorado. Mr. Katz.
If I may. The staff has provided documents for the authority pursuant to the hearing showing the facts and circumstances. We have the items for exhibits for the public hearing approach. We would have to accept A, B, and C for the purpose of this hearing.
Okay.
I'll show we've complied with the regulations and statutes and ordinances. There's going to be an admission, and the request by the city is that after the evaluation that there be a determination that a suspension be in effect for 5 days, that at a minimum 3 of those days be held in abeyance, and that if there are days that are to be served, that they be consecutive days of the week selected to have the least impact on the business. You may have in your packet, I'm not sure, but I'm going to ask, the history. They don't? Okay. Have the history for the Gorilla Room, which shows an establishment. Where did I go? So this would be Exhibit B, establishing the application in June of 05, issued in February of 06, and no violations needed.
Okay, and that's Exhibit D.
It would be, thank you.
All right, I make a motion that we accept Exhibits A, B, C, and D.
I second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I-
Any opposition? No opposition.
I would, in addition to the facts that have been presented by staff in the history and other materials, that the server who was involved was issued a criminal violation, did accept responsibility for that. The licensee appeared with him in the court, and that case has been resolved, and consequences were issued for that.
Okay. All right, well,
Licensee appears by counsel and in person.
okay. Please come forward and speak into the microphone. You state your name, Counselor.
Daniel Levin, well, I don't know if you accept registration numbers in these proceedings.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary. I'm just used to presenting it when I'm in court.
And joining you is?
Joining you as a licensee.
And
Abraham Suter.
Abraham Suter. All right, gentlemen, please.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to appear before you this evening. As you can see, the licensee is present as well as the server, and we do feel it's important for this group to be aware that, again, as Mr. Katz explained, they did fully take responsibility for. They did not choose to contest the charges. The server has paid a significant amount in fines, and he's paying for these proceedings as well. In my representation, and both the server and the licensee have learned a very serious lesson in all this, even though the server tells me that these particular circumstances were a bit unusual. The server, and he's here if the membership would like to question him. I would like to encourage them to do so if they so choose. But he explained to me that in this particular evening, when the incident occurred, this individual who was allegedly intoxicated had been served, I believe it was five or six.
Police report said six
drinks, but it was over an extended period of time. This server has been in business and has been in the restaurant business, and acting as a server for 16 of 21 years. He has never had an incident like this before in his history of employment, and he's well aware of what to look for when it comes to intoxicated people. He told me, and he'll tell you all as well, he did not see any of the indications from this particular individual that evidenced intoxication, and that is the reason why this particular individual wasn't cut off earlier. And in fact, he didn't exhibit, the customer did not exhibit any of these signs of visible intoxication anyway. And it was later learned from the customer himself that he was also under additional medication, and he had been drinking at other establishments before this evening, earlier in the evening, I guess. I would like you all to note as well that this server himself is the one who called the police. He did not say, at least his position is, he did not say, I have an intoxicated customer here. He did call the police when he witnessed that this customer had fallen to the ground and was not feeling well, and he was concerned for the customer's safety as well. But to make a long story short, there were no serious consequences to this whole scenario of events. And in addition, it's important for the membership to note, too, that the licensee has taken significant steps to make sure even these types of incidents don't occur again.
What steps would those be, Counselor?
Well, for example, the server himself has retaken the tips server course just to ensure that he's well aware of these incidents. And I must state just along those lines that normally a bar owner, in terms of my recommendations, I would recommend that they terminate the employment. But in this case, I think it's appropriate that the owners, licensees, retain this individual because of his experience and because he has learned a very serious lesson from this. And he's learned even more than a new employee would have experienced from not knowing, having been through this particular incident. I think this has been invaluable for him to understand that these things are taken very seriously, and you will pay dearly, not only with your job, but also with the licensee's license to continue to operate the business. So he will, I'm sure, confirm that he has learned a valuable lesson through this whole procedure. But getting back to the licensee, they have installed surveillance cameras in the bar and restaurant so they can more closely supervise what's going on. The owner has moved upstairs. He's actually resides above the bar so he can more closely supervise the employees and have almost constant contact. And for the times that he cannot have direct supervision, he has the surveillance cameras in place. And all the employees know that, so they know they can't get away with anything that is not going to be recorded. They've also,
And this is as a result of this incident?
that's correct. They've also instituted weekly meetings so they can review their policies and procedures with all the servers who would be encountering customers of this nature, so they can ensure that they are acting properly. There, as Mr. Katz noted, there is no prior history of these kind of incidents. This is not a bar where you will see this constantly happening over and over again. These owners are relatively new. They've only been in this particular business themselves for about approximately a year and a half. So they have a very vested interest in making sure that steps are taken to guarantee that this does not happen again. This is their livelihood, and it would constitute a severe hardship for them to be closed at all. And I would, I would ask that certainly, considering all the facts and circumstances here, that they actually not be suspended at all, but that they, just having been gone through these proceedings, this will certainly be on the record, though, anyway, and they understand that if it happens again, that the membership will not be as considerate of the incident.
That's why we hold days in abeyance.
So we would actually ask that no suspension be told against them at all. So. Again, there were no serious consequences to this, and I believe, at least from what they're telling me, and again, I think he wants to also re-emphasize that they have instituted these steps to guarantee that this does not happen again.
Okay.
I would also like to note that the City of Littleton Fire Rescue was reimbursed $250 for expenses they had in fielding this incident and dealing with it.
I have one question. It sounds like it was impossible to know how intoxicated this person was until he ended up on the floor. How do you train for that? Do you count the number of drinks you serve to a person, or how, it sounds like a reasonable person would have thought he was sober. Right. So how do you train him to know that he's not?
Well, I think the best person to answer that question would be the server, since he's been through the training program.
Could you state your name for the record, please?
Marcel Mendovic.
Okay. Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, easily. I kind of watch, even though I knew he lived across the street, I keep in mind what would be a legal limit if someone was to be driving. Because sometimes people tell you they're not driving. So I know he had 6 drinks in 7 hours, so legally he would be able to get behind the wheel of a car.
Theoretically, yeah.
Yeah.
Given his size and weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think we've previously had discussions. We had another facility that had somebody who sat in their place and stayed, but they didn't have a lot of interaction, close personal interaction with the person to determine if they sounded or acted a little different when they had that contact with them after they had the first couple of drinks, to spend more time with them before serving each drink and making a redetermination at each phase rather than having something creep up suddenly. We had discussed this at the criminal hearing.
Was this gentleman that was he a regular? Is he somebody that goes into the place frequently?
It was his second time. I remember the first time he came in, it was during a snowstorm probably 4 months earlier.
That's a pretty good memory.
Yeah.
You just stated that he had 6 drinks in 7 hours. What I'm reading here is 6 drinks in 4 hours and 45 minutes.
No. He was sitting there doing homework
I calculated 7
from around 7 p.m., 6.
7 in the evening.
Oh, I'm
till
sorry. It
almost
said
2.
that he'd been in the bar since 1900,
7 o'clock.
right? And 1:45? Am I getting it wrong?
6 hours, 6 and 3/4 hours.
Okay. I
Actually,
didn't say I could count.
If the individual came in and drank steadily and consumed 6 vodkas over a period of 6 3/4 hours, and his blood PBT was 0.228, would it be reasonable to assume that he came in intoxicated at approximately this level, and it would be atypical for an individual at that level not to manifest signs of intoxication?
It would be very rare, but I've encountered people that can do that. I mean, I couldn't do that. Probably most of you couldn't do that. But he sat there, he drank slowly, he was doing homework on his computer. He didn't show any signs of intoxication. Some people can do that. It's rare, but
And he was supposedly on other medication also?
he came and told me afterwards that he was on, well, when the firemen and the paramedics were there, he said he was on an antidepressant and a painkiller, and he was supposed to be on a breathing machine.
Okay. Any more questions for this gentleman? Do you have anything further in mitigation, Counselor, or Mr. Suter?
Yeah, I do want to let you guys know that I'm in this for the long haul. I'm not trying to make a quick buck off of someone selling shots like that, and I do want a respectable place. So I want you to understand this isn't a side project where I'm trying to make a quick buck. This is my livelihood, and I do take alcohol service seriously. So.
Okay.
Well, we do appreciate your clean record, and we know you do run a clean place. The only problem I have is to say no harm was done, because if this guy would have been able to walk out the door, he might have gotten into a car, and you know what could have happened there. So it was potentially really, really serious. I'm inclined to accept the story that you just couldn't tell that he was drunk. I've seen situations like that personally myself that you can't tell.
Okay.
I think we might be a little bit ahead of ourselves if we just go to the reading. If I could just add something, that is the authority going to request an admission to the violation CRS 1247-9011A and Colorado Liquor Regulation 47900A, the Middleton Municipal Code 3-2-11.
Mr. Katz, just speak in the mic, please. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Okay. If I could, if the licensee would let the authority know if there's an admission or a denial to the allegation that there was a violation of CRS 1247-9011A, Colorado Liquor Regulation 47900A, Littleton Municipal Code 3-2-11A2 on the date that's been the subject of our discussion so far. Is there an admission or a denial of those violations?
Mr. Levin?
There is an admission. We would submit their admission. They do not contest those charges.
Then I would say that in the suggested motions area, the language be changed, that be based on the admission. Someone make the motion.
Duly noted, Counselor.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we have an admission. Please, you may step back. And we have to discuss the penalties on this. As I understand, you have come to tentative agreement of 5 days with 3 days held in abeyance and 2 days off sometime in the middle of the week situation?
Days of the week consecutive chosen by the licensee. However, that's that the 3 days at a minimum be the part held in abeyance, and that if the authority saw it differently, that there needed to be at least 3 days served or more, then you would just reject the agreement. And
Right.
we would go forward with a hearing at a different date.
Understand.
Is there an agreement on the days, or is that the city's recommendation? Is there only an agreement on the admission, and if the authority imposes more than 5 days with 2 held in abeyance?
Three
no
held in
longer?
abeyance. If we go with 5 days and 2 held in abeyance, then we're going to have to come back here and do this again. Is that correct?
All right. And just for the record, although my client does acknowledge and admit the violation, we would request that, considering the totality of the circumstances, that it hold all 5 days in advance.
Okay, so you're making this admission with that recommendation being the maximum you're willing to take out, and not saying that we would be giving the maximum.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right. The city is not making any sort of binding recommendation on the authority, but it's the city's recommendation it not exceed 2 actual days to be served.
Okay.
It's just a recommendation.
And non-consecutive or consecutive during the week?
Consecutive days to be selected the starting date by the licensee.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, and all of this testimony here, I think that 2 actual days off would be a little severe.
I agree with you. I don't see that.
Yeah, I would like to see it just be 1 at the most.
The first time offense, and
Yeah.
That's not only a first-time offense. I mean, they've taken quite a bit of action, retaking the tip training, installing the cameras, owner now living upstairs. They've reimbursed the city for the cost of the city coming down. 6 drinks within 7 hours.
A reasonable person, yeah.
Okay. The server did call the police on his own. So
Right.
taking all that in, I would really hate to see suspended more than 1 day.
I agree with what Earl's saying, except that I don't see a suspension. I see it all in abeyance instead of even serving 1 day.
I think I can support that too, just for the fact that he did call the police, and they have reimbursed Littleton Fire Rescue. I mean, Littleton Fire Rescue never gets reimbursed for this stuff. I think that shows good faith, and the other steps, the security cameras. Not that I care much about the security cameras; those are for your own personal use to subrogate pilferage or theft or whatever. And it may be advantageous in a situation like this in the future. But the fact that you are living on site, and I'd like to make a recommendation that I'll make a motion here. Based on the admission, I move that Bubby's Cafe LLC, doing business Gorilla Room, 5654 South Prince Street, liquor license, be suspended for 5 days and that all 5 days will be held in abeyance. There need not be any notices on this. So that would be the end of the motion. Can I get a second for that?
I'll second it.
Would you poll the authority, please? Yes.
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 Okay. Gentlemen, keep up the good work.
They understand it's a year from today's date.
Yes, a year from today's date, you get in any more trouble, then you're going to get those 5 days or some part of that in addition to whatever violation and punishment for that second violation would be. So, and we hope we never see you back here again. Okay. You're welcome. All right. Do you need this back, Mr. Katz? All right, next item of business. Probable cause hearing. Probable cause of liquor code violations, scheduling show cause hearing of Broadway Wine and Liquor Incorporated, doing business as Broadway Wine and Liquor, 7945 South Broadway. Have you guys read this item 8A?
Mr. Chairman, I read it and I have one question.
Yeah.
When does the sale really become final? I mean, the fact that he had not signed the charge sheet, was there really a sale?
Ordinances of the city of Littleton are such that the attempt to complete an act is treated the same as if the act were completed. And the transaction, as far as the signing of the slip, it may depend on some circumstances, but the signing of the slip is after it's gone through the processing machine and is a document that the retail outlet holds to establish the signature in case it's protested. But the actual transaction, as far as the electronic transaction, has been completed at that point prior to the signature.
So you're saying the transaction was completed electronically? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, it sounds like we got a real problem here because they didn't check the ID. This kid's a regular. He's 18 years old. He doesn't have a fake ID. The teenager had purchased alcohol 8 to 10 times. So to me, it's a clear violation. So I'll entertain a motion for a show cause hearing.
I move that we bring Broadway Liquor in for a show cause hearing at our June meeting.
Second.
Would you poll the authority, please?
Yes.
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 Okay. Next item of business, change of August 2009 meeting location. Has that, how did that work out for you there, Rochelle?
Had to go to city council at the last meeting if they're okay, because since they're requiring all meetings to be televised, and they can't be held here, it can't be televised. So I had went and taken it to council, council said, okay, so I scheduled it at the courthouse. So that's where it'll be, if we have any.
If we have any business, it'll be at the courthouse.
Okay.
All right. Any reports from the staff? Sergeant Bowen, do you have any reports? No?
Michelle and Ms. Cash.
Okay.
I want
And
to
there's one report that I did get last month that I'm sending for some additional information before I can make a determination of whether it's going to be referred over to the authority for review.
Okay.
rather than bring it to you and have you ask me to get more.
Oh, you're so thoughtful.
Sometimes I'm so lucky, that's all.
John, you had something?
I had a question. This paper that we were sent from the Department of Revenue, State of Colorado, that's just for our information?
Basically, yes. As it was explained to me, that establishment that was here last month, okay, they were in trouble with the state for refilling bottles, and the state took that action. They should have let us know about that. It should have been in their history. But as you can see, the date of the letter didn't get out until April 13th, which is after our meeting. So I don't know if they purposely tried to dodge us with that information, or
Probably dismissed.
I'm still a little confused about that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
To me, it doesn't matter which one came first, okay, because both of them held days in advance.
Yeah, they're in trouble with the state.
Well, no, so if the state came first, then we found them guilty, and then they're in trouble with the state. And that's what you're saying the situation is, because the state held 5 days in advance, too.
That's true. That's true. And the state has been notified and may or may not take action as they see fit.
Thank you.
Some of it may depend upon whether the licensee informed them that there was a pending matter here or not. And there's nothing in the order to indicate that they considered a pending matter, but often state agencies ask about that. It doesn't have to be in the order, but they will, if it's been mentioned, they don't subsequently bring them back in. So it's hard to say, since we weren't at the hearing.
Okay.
If I may, Counselor, I have 2 questions I may ask. Different subject.
I'm okay with that.
One, I saw in the newspaper today that they're having an auction of liquor, not within Littleton. And is that legal?
What's it an auction for?
Well, they're going to actually sell the liquor. It's a liquor store going out of business in Highlands Ranch,
And they're going to
auctioning
sell
off
it
all the liquor in the store.
in the store.
Yeah.
Well, then they bought it from a wholesaler, and they're selling it at whatever price they can get, as opposed to putting a price on it. And it would be the same as if somebody walked up with a bottle and they said, you want to pay $3 for it? And the person said, no, $2.50, and they said, okay, deal. So I think the auction under those circumstances, if it being in the premises, is okay.
Okay. Second question, and there again, it's not within Littleton, over by Southwest. There was a pizza store, and they have a sign out front that says, we don't serve liquor, bring your own bottle.
That could be a problem.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
I mean, it's not Littleton and nothing that
You can bring all the bottles you want as long as you don't open them.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curiosity.
I think that might be something that would be brought to the attention of the county to find out how that's working there. It's not a private club. If it was a private club, they'd still need to be licensed, or they'd have to be a caterer, and the caterer actually still has to pick up the liquor that's purchased by the person who brings it to the location, and the caterer brings it to the location and serves it. So doesn't seem like it's working too well to me, unless the bottles stay closed.
Just got my curiosity. Like I said, there's a sign that they have, one of these little markup signs. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, if it was on Mars, it'd be legal, but
We don't serve liquor, bring your own Pepsi.
Thank you.
all right. Anybody else have anything? I have nothing, so meeting adjourned.